class, the functions of communication. Okay, of course, when we communicate class, we use a language. Okay, if that language can actually be oral, that can also be written, can also be the non-verbal forms of language. Okay, because language is not confined only to words. The body language referring to the non-verbal cues. Now we have the functions of communication. Okay, can anyone, okay, please, okay, share your insights, okay, to this? Okay, would like to volunteer? Anyone would like to give your insights? But just looking, functions of communication: control, motivation, information, emotional expression. Okay, anyone? I actually originally class planned to really assign, okay, some of you to do the reports, but then okay, I've also realized that well, you are also pursuing, your respective, okay, careers, no, you are actually practicing your professions, and definitely I cannot assign everyone, okay, to do the report, okay, because there are so many of you. There are 45 students, okay, for Com 1. So that is why I've decided to just make it really was this interactive by just calling names. Okay, but of course, if there are those who would like to volunteer, then it will be better. Okay, so I saw a hand. I see Miss Hannelore Villamor. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Doc. Good morning. Good morning, classmates. So, with
Hannelore.
regards to, yes, what can I be heard, Doc?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Doc. To start with, you've asked us about how to discuss functions of communication. So, it's written there. Its
Please
function is
adjust.
for
Miss Hannelore. Okay.
attorney. Is that attorney? Doc, is that better? Yan, Doc.
Okay, try to move down, no, a little.
Okay, is that better, Doc?
Seems your screen is blurred. I do not know if it is just my connection.
I
Okay, that
think,
is
Doc.
how I see you.
I think it's because of my effect to blur the background and my face
Oh,
is being blurred also. Okay, with regards to the functions of communication, it involves control, motivation, information, and expression. What's that? Expression, emotional expression. So, to be specific, Doc, one of the major functions of communication is that it gives information. So, that is specifically useful in my case since I'm one of the instructors of basic life support. So for me to be able to share my knowledge about basic life support, so I have to communicate with a group of people. So one of its function is to communicate, to give information, and to aware the people how to do standard first aid and basic life support procedures. And another is to express your emotion. So another example for that is when you're not feeling good with a specific person, or if you're not in good terms with a specific person. So for you to be able to convey that you hate someone, so you express what you feel. It's either you will not talk to the person, or it's either you'll give that person a certain letter for you to express your emotion. So it's one way of communicating. And number one, another function is to control. So a basic example for this is when a certain artist or a certain actor manipulated the reaction or the emotion of a certain audience. So if a certain actor would convey a drama action, so the audience tend to cry. So another example is motivation. So this is a perfect example if for a certain person, in the person of Bo Sanchez. So his talent is to motivate the people in order for him to express and to share to the people how you'll be able to deal with life in your daily living. So that's an example of the many functions of communication. In other words, communication is more than just exchanging information. It's about how you understand the emotion and the intention behind that information, Doc.
okay. Thank you, Miss Hannelore. Okay, just to add up,
Thank you,
okay, to
Doc.
the function of language. So to talk about control functions, it has something to do also with authority. Okay, so meaning to say, for example, no, you are actually, shall we say, you are the manager or you are the boss, no, in that company. So definitely, you can also use language in order to establish your authority over the person. Okay, in which you expect that the people plus, for example, your subordinates or your people under you will really also have to recognize you okay, as somebody that we have to heed, okay, as to what is, shall we say, the directives like that. Okay, so meaning to say, class, okay, there is the authority that you have, and you try to convey it using your language. For example, no, you try to, okay, issue a memorandum, okay, to your subordinates. If there is actually an observation that you have in your workplace, and you know you have the authority in that workplace, then in order to establish order, to establish, okay, what is proper, okay, to be observed by everyone, so you can actually issue a memorandum, okay, in which you expect everyone to abide by. Okay, so that is it. How about, okay, on the part of, shall we say, parents? Okay, okay, well, we have our children. I think some of us here already have children. Okay, so as parents, we have the authority over our children, just like we talk about limiting the use of gadgets, limiting, okay, the use of cell phones for online games like that. And of course, as parents, we cannot allow or tolerate our children to be, okay, burning their midnight candles just to be playing online to the extent of harming their own health. Okay, and that is why we make it clear that we try to, okay, prescribe, okay, as to the limit of time, okay, as to when they are allowed to play and when they need to stop. Okay, so that can also be the control function. Of course, now when for us, especially most of us are working, so we have our, shall we say, immediate superiors, and of course to establish really order in the workplace. So there is actually the authority that we look up. Okay, so that is not actually to discriminate those who have lower ranks, no, in the organization, but that is actually to establish, okay, order, okay, in the workplace. That is why language can actually be used, okay, to control, but not really to manipulate, not really to be authoritative at all. It's just actually to ensure that there is the authority of the person, and that authority is conveyed using the language. Okay, so that's it. And we also, of course, as mentioned by Ms. Hamilo, that is for information most of the time. Okay, we try to use language really to inform. For example, no, when you are actually, okay, what's this, dressing up, and then somebody, a family member asks you, okay, are you going somewhere? And then you say, yes, I'm going to school because I have a class. Okay, then your response is already informing the person. If you also, there is also a concern in your workplace, okay, you can actually write, okay, it's a form of communication, you try to address it, no, to your immediate superior or the person who is actually expected to give appropriate response. So you can do that. How about also, you can also just go directly, talk directly to the person who has something to say, you know, with the concern that you have. That is for information, no? Because sometimes, how can we expect other people to address our concerns when we don't even let them know? So that is why we have to really have also the courage, okay, to really be willing enough, no, to inform those who need to be informed, okay, so that there will be appropriate response. Okay, as long as we do it nicely. So I think there is really no harm of informing the people whatever our concerns are. And of course, class, we have your emotional expression. Well, people really are emotional beings, although there are those people who are very good at withholding their emotions. Okay, but they try to express their emotions in different means without really using, okay, words to express what they feel, but they can actually express it, okay, in different forms. Just like, okay, when there is actually a news that is given and not a good news, a bad news, okay, so the one who receives that message may not tell you that I feel bad, I feel sad, but by just the looks in the eyes, the facial expression, okay, the movement of the mouth, you can tell if that person is extremely sad over the news that is given. Okay? So he even shall we say crying may actually be enough already to tell how the person truly feels about that. Okay? So but of course, class, we cannot also confine communication to nonverbal cues because we may not know what is meant really by those nonverbal cues. That is why you also have to pay attention also to the verbal expression, the written expression, because the nonverbal cues may not coincide with what is actually meant by the person. Isn't it? That sometimes, okay, there is okay, a problem with the relationship, okay, between two people or among, okay, people. It's because they misinterpret the nonverbal cues being sent, and that other person may not actually realize that that is the way you have received the nonverbal cues, and then just to find out later, why is this person okay not talking to me anymore? Why is this person avoiding me? Okay, so then you realize it was because of the facial expression that you have showed to the person, and it was actually okay, the facial expression was taken negatively, even that you did not mean that at all. That is not what you mean by that. And sometimes you not be conscious that you are having that facial expression, but the other one feels offended. Okay, that is why class, no, we have to really also understand really that in communication class, we should not immediately give our, shall we say, no, judgment or conclusion to what we observe, what we are able to hear, because what is actually meant by the other is not the one that you receive. Okay, so it has to take okay some time that you try to reason out. Does the person okay mean it, or okay has the person really intended to cause offense, or maybe okay that was just okay a natural response of the person without really a meaning harm. Okay, so of course when we communicate class for different reasons, and one way really is to express our emotion. Okay, so and of course we also have your motivation, and maybe we can also talk about this, refer to this also, the social function of communicating. Most of the time, plus we interact, okay, interpersonally. We actually relate to people, plus whether for personal, okay, reasons or official reason. There is that transactional communication taking place. Okay, well, that is actually to establish, okay, social relations, because as people, we always need, we oftentimes, not really always, oftentimes, we need to connect with other people. And we have language, okay, as a means of communicating. Okay? Okay, that is actually our nature as people, no? That we have to communicate for different reasons using different forms of